Well, we're back to talk more Disney movies, and this time we're talking The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. It's an anthology film consisting of two segments, an adaptation of The Wind in the Willows and an adaptation of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I had not seen this one before, and we made a rule not to watch any of the anthology films because we wanted to stick to the more narrative-driven ones, but I kept this one on the list because this is the only one that I've ever seen advertised. Never seen anybody talk about Three Calaveros or
Yeah.
Merry Melodies, whatever the thing
Melody
is.
time.
Yeah, but I have heard people reference this one, and I had seen advertisements for this when I was a kid. So, having seen it, it's mid-tier, C-grade Disney, honestly.
Yeah, probably 10 or 15 minutes into the first segment, I found myself thinking, why did they make this? And then it started to get better, and there was things that I started to kind of appreciate about it. And then when the second segment started, I was kind of thinking like the same thing, like, why did we do this? And then again, like I started to find things I liked about it, and yeah, it came away pretty mixed. Ultimately, I think this was kind of a I wouldn't call it a mistake, but just kind of unnecessary.
Kind of the 40s equivalent to filler content.
Yeah, before there were straight-to-video Disney sequels, I guess there was like these weird in-betweens. I can see like why they would want to do this in concept, and like the idea is pretty good. You take these like popular stories or children's stories or whatever, kind of cautionary tales, and you animate them and put them out for kids. And short, it's not like an hour and a half or so. It's
This one's only like an hour, 9 minutes.
yeah, it's real short, but it feels longer than it is.
Yeah, I can't imagine there are many people on this planet who would say, yo, man, Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, that's my childhood. That's the best one.
Yeah, the first one, like, I have a real big problem with just because I can't understand why they thought this was a story worth telling and why they chose this.
So, yeah, I guess we'll just get into it now. The first story is about Mr. Toad. It's an adaptation of The Wind in the Willows, and it's narrated by Basil Rathbone, and it revolves around this character, Mr. Toad, who's basically a speed freak. He's like addicted to speed. He has this horse and buggy that he speeds around on, and I guess he's becoming a nuisance to the townsfolk or something. So his friends, the rat and the mole, take him aside and say, "You gotta stop this dude." And then Mr. Toad sees a motor car drive
Yeah,
by.
and becomes obsessed with it.
Yeah, and he develops a new obsession. He starts sputtering like a vehicle, and I'm surprised nobody's made a remix of this. Somebody probably has.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, actually.
So Mr. Toad starts sputtering like a vehicle and making car noises, so the rat and the mole basically detox him by locking him in his house and making him, detox cold turkey off this speed addiction. So Mr. Toad is locked in his room, but he finds a way to escape, and then next thing you know, he's on trial for stealing a car. Did he do it? Did he not do it? We find out. Eventually, he has to make his escape and clear his name because, spoilers, he didn't do it.
Yeah, that was another one of my problems is I was watching a movie about a guy who was wrongfully convicted of a crime, and I just spent the whole time being confused, like, why did they want to tell this story to children? Like, this is so bizarre to me. You're telling a story about a frog who's obsessed with vehicles, so he gets convicted of stealing a car that we know he didn't steal, and then we find out, hey, he didn't actually steal it.
I took this whole thing as like an allegory for addiction, basically.
Yeah,
But then it just kind of descends into hijinks in the end.
yeah, and that's also kind of where it falls apart, but also you start to get some of the things I appreciate. The character animation is very good. The environment work is not so good because it's all extremely static. It's crude looking, but the actual characters in the scenes are very well animated.
Yeah, characters are designed and animated much better than in Dumbo, so it doesn't look that cheap. It's well voice acted, but the animation starts to get more dynamic in the second half when Mr. Toad is on the run. We get more dramatic camera angles. There's some cool Dutch angles and some nice color choices and some fog visuals to give the scene's atmosphere. That was cool. And then there's also a really fluidly animated train chase.
Yeah, that was the best part of the whole thing. That was when I kind of like really perked up and I was like, okay,
if nothing else, it's cool to watch.
Yeah, finally I'm locked in. I've got like a section of this story that I can really appreciate, and if I wanted to rewatch it online, I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well animated, like nice to look at. Reminded me a lot of kind of the old school Disney cartoons, the kind of the fluidity of the motion. And
Oh yeah, the ones where everyone is just always bouncy.
Yeah, very Steamboat Willie kind of vibe to it. I really enjoyed that. But I was waiting for the story to kind of wrap up in a satisfying way for me to be like, okay, I understand why you wanted to tell this story. But like you said, it just kind of devolved into pratfalls and hijinks and, characters getting bopped on the head.
And the sad thing is that it wasn't really funny.
No.
No.
No, I think it hurts that I was also so bored by it that by the time they start doing some of that stuff, it was just like, okay, whatever. It's time to end this now.
And then outside it does.
Outside of the train sequence.
Yeah. So then the next one is an adaptation of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. This one is narrated by Bing Crosby, narrated and sung.
Okay.
So it revolves around schoolmaster Ichabod Crane, who comes into Sleepy Hollow to be the teacher, and Ichabod has a way with the ladies.
Ichabod's a piece of garbage in this.
Yes. Ichabod is kind of a piece of shit. He has a way with the ladies. They all gravitate towards him, but the woman who really captures his heart is this beautiful lady named Katrina Van Tassel. Mm-hmm. And Ichabod starts fantasizing about marrying this lady and her wealthy father dying so he can inherit the estate.
Yes.
Kind of sick.
Yeah, not a nice man.
Now, I guess back then, you ain't no man if you ain't got land, quoth Delmar from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But today it just kind of plays like, man, you're a superficial piece of shit.
Yeah, it's weird because the short kind of frames his kind of rival in the movie. I forget his name.
Brom Bones.
Yeah, they kind of frame him as the Gaston of the story, but really Ichabod's kind of the Gaston.
Yeah, most of this segment revolves around his rivalry with local big boy Brom Bones,
who also wants to get with Katrina.
Yeah. And it's mostly a series of comedic hijinks as well and physical comedy. Now, unlike the Mr. Toad story, there was one visual joke that made us both laugh.
It was Ichabod's head wrapping around the tree.
That was kind of funny, too. But the one that we got a laugh out of was Brom Bones getting hit in the face with a door. I guess you already forgot.
I don't remember this.
It was funny. But, it's mostly Brom Bones and Ichabod Crane trying to win Katrina's heart, and then Brom Bones decides to scare Ichabod with this story about the Headless Horseman. Were you watching this thinking, when's that horseman coming?
Yeah, because I have actually seen this a long time ago when I was a kid. So I remembered the Headless Horseman bit. So the whole time I was watching this thinking, I thought this was a story about a headless horseman, not about like a piece of garbage, like ladies' man who comes in and starts wooing all the women and trying to steal their land. So then to see that tacked on at the very end, I was like, oh, it's literally like 3 minutes of the whole thing.
Yeah. That's the part everyone remembers, I guess. So yeah, the Headless Horseman finally comes into the picture. He chases Ichabod through the woods, and it's by far the best segment in the movie, just like the train sequence in the previous one.
Yeah, it's well animated. There's a lot of really good like atmosphere and effects that they have going on. Some of the physical comedy actually works, like I mentioned earlier, like Ichabod's neck wrapping around the tree limb and spinning. And them trading places on the horses. Yeah,
the Headless Horseman is the best design in the movie, and it's also uniquely drawn because every character in this movie is drawn with black line art outlining their character. The Headless Horseman is drawn completely in shadow and illuminated light. There's no line art on him.
Did you think Brom Bones was going to be revealed as the horseman?
Yeah. That's what I thought. I thought it was all a prank.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured too, but we don't really get a resolution to that.
Yeah, it's left ambiguous whether Ichabod even survives.
Yeah, which I do actually kind of appreciate with this one, that it actually has a downer, kind of dark ending. The Ichabod is disappeared, and we don't know whatever becomes of him.
Yeah, I did kind of like the songs in this.
Yeah, I did too. The Katrina song especially is a pretty good one.
Yeah, there's a reason Bing Crosby is as renowned as he is. He has a good voice. He has a good voice for the vocals and for narrating.
Yeah, I like the lyrics. I like the melody. I like the way it's just kind of a fun and funny song.
I can see myself in my own time re-listening to some of the tracks in this half of the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. Which of these two did you like better?
The second one for sure, Ichabod. I think the train sequence is the best sequence in both of the shorts, but overall, I much prefer the Ichabod one.
Interesting. I thought I was going to like the Legend of Sleepy Hollow one better, but I think I somewhat prefer the Mr. Toad story because I felt like there was more of a narrative through line and more of a story that you could follow. It's like I said, addiction.
I guess I liked the fact that Ichabod was kind of the overtly, like, not evil, but just, like, bad person.
Just kind of a bastard.
Yeah, and the kind of the dark ending, him, getting his comeuppance in the end was actually kind of satisfying to see.
Yeah. For what it's worth, the Headless Horseman sequence does count for a fair amount, but ultimately I think I do slightly prefer the Mr. Toad story just for being a little more full, narratively.
Yeah, I found myself kind of confused by that one. I was just thinking, like, just again, like, why was this one of the stories they wanted to tell? Like,
it's especially funny, the framing device, where Basil Rathbone says, I think the greatest literary character in all of history is Mr. Toad.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, this story?
Yeah, a guy who likes to go fast and he becomes obsessed with a motor car. Yeah. And then gets thrown in jail and then becomes a criminal to escape. Yeah, I don't know. Didn't care much for that first one.
Final number grade on a scale of 1 to 10.
I would probably give this like a 5 or a generous 6.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I wouldn't watch this again in full. Like I said, it feels much longer than it actually is. I was bored for a good portion of it, especially in the first half.
Yeah.
The Ichabod segment was my favorite, but it's still kind of slow moving, and at the end of the day, I have to ask myself why. Why were resources spent on this when we could have been doing something else? But it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. 5 or 6, oscillating between the two. I can go either or. Not great, but
certainly at the bottom of the pile of the stuff we watched so far.
Indeed.